So, it's been a while since I did a comic review, hasn't it? I suppose I should revisit the bread and butter of my channel lest I go hungry, or whatever that metaphor was. Refantasio. Good game. Should have made Hulkenberg's ass bigger. Anyway, let's branch out from just comic fury and go all across the internet. Enough preamble, let's start the show. Ant-Idol. Alright, so a while back I decided to look at comics marked similar to mine on Global Comics. Checked out the list again and it's somewhat changed. This one called Ant-Idol caught my eye because of the gorgeous artwork. So let's check out the synopsis. Quote, In a world where power flows from the top down and the lives of the weak carry little weight, the story of a boy begins at the very bottom. Eisen is a slave from the ruins of the imperial metropolis of Fortuna. Torn from disaster as a child, he grows up in the household of the influential merchant Lemric. Then he learns to read, to fight, and to survive. Yet despite his training and his proximity to power, he remains one thing above all else: property. While political intrigues, wars, and the ambitions of fading empires shape the world around him, Eisen searches for his place in a society that sees people like him only as tools. Caught between loyalty and ambition and the desire for freedom, he must decide which path he is willing to walk. Because in a world of silver, blood, and promises, one truth remains. Not everyone is born as someone, but some choose to become someone. Ant-Idol is a dark coming-of-age saga about power, origin, and the long ascent of a boy rising from obscurity. End quote. So, I read the first 3 chapters that are available. This is a newer comic, having only started in March of this year, and aside from the beautiful artwork, there really isn't much to review quite yet in terms of story. We start with a flash forward to this guy dying and being eaten by ants. Not sure if this is Eisen or Lemric from the synopsis. Only one background character has gotten a name in the actual comic so far. What we got is a flashback to when this Fortuna, as mentioned in the synopsis, was destroyed by a monster, and that's pretty much it. That's what the first 3 chapters show, the inciting incident to the rest of the story. Unfortunately, the rest of the story hasn't been created and or released yet. I am, however, quite intrigued with where this team is going. Global Comics lists the creator as Oculus Festum, but the actual comic says it's written by one David Scheidel and illustrated by one Lorena Lynn Sill. If I were to give any critique, I just want to know who we're following here. There's narration, but I'm not sure if it's assigned to the guy that was dying in the flash forward at the start or the old guy we're following in the destruction of Fortuna. At a certain point, characters need to be named, you know? Not just in the synopsis, in the comic as well, you know? As for the rest, the pacing feels pretty good. We're getting a good look at the destruction of Fortuna and the chaos it's caused, as well as the panicked townsfolk. The artwork is absolutely exceptional, and it's a breeze to read through with good layouts and a nice ratio of 2-to-1 artwork to words. I look forward to Chapter 4 and do recommend you guys giving it a shot, you know? On to the next one. Daughter of Darkness. Alright, this next one caught my eye because of the cool style and catchy title. This is by a comic furry user going by Spectrum. Let's read the synopsis. Quote, Honey Venom, the sweetest poison, the daughter of darkness. Honey is an adventurer with an obscure past. She is an assassin and a witch. This comic is about her adventures in mysterious lands, about her loves and her fights against revenants, vampires, evil priests, corrupt zealots, depraved ogres, and other revolting villains. So, we got a supernatural hero comic thing kind of going on, so let's give it a read. And I did read the first chapter. I'm going to bookmark it there. I actually quite enjoyed this comic. The art style is very appealing. It's sort of like a blend between Western cartoons and a more manga feel. It's a unique style that really grabbed my attention. I do want to read through the rest of it to see if it evolves some more, as well as the fact that the series looks finished, which, holy shit, a finished webcomic? Insanity. Anywho, the story follows Honey Venom, the daughter of darkness, as the title and the synopsis implies. We follow her tracking someone named Sidragamus, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, through the woods into a crypt. She's seeking his assistance when she finally meets him after dealing with a goblin wizard guy that made her shrimp. Yep, this comic's a spicy one. She gets a new outfit. Oh, and there's also a self-cess scene in there, so, I mean, it's just one page, but yeah, that's in there, so heads up on that. She also meets up with some companions after attaining her new outfit, and they begin discussing details about what they're planning. I'm not quite sure what they're planning based off of the dialogue, but I do want to find out. So after reading one chapter, I can say I did enjoy it. The art style has a lot of charm to it. My main critique is that this comic is very wordy, at least throughout the opening chapter. It's definitely something I can get over. We're not talking like Lightbringer levels of wordiness. It's me, the Lightbringer. Sorry, I gotta do it every time. But it's more so like Spawn levels of wordiness. We're definitely not quite at Hunter x Hunter level just yet. I believe that comics should be like a 2-to-1 ratio of art to words, or better yet, cut down your scripts as much as possible and make the visuals do the heavy lifting in the storytelling. Now, this was only chapter 1 I looked at, and everyone's chapter 1 is a bit rough, even mine. Oof. Daughter of Darkness definitely has a better chapter 1 than Doomsayer does. Anyway, I think Spectrum did a great job with this so far. I'm intrigued with this dark fantasy world, with this eroticism and absurdity. It looks like a more unique and fresh take on the genre that got buried back in 2015 if the latest chapter comment is anything to go on, which also implies that the series was originally written in Italian and got published in Italy, so hey, hats off to Spectrum, way to go, dude. I do wonder if an English translation was made available for physical or digital, so English-speaking fans could see how Honey Venom's adventures continued or concluded. Regardless, I will be resuming this comic shortly after making this video, and I think I'll put my version of this character in the thumbnail, because I'm probably going to draw my thumbnails from now on for maximum brand consistency and recognizability, unless it's an Infamous webcomics episode. This one, however, is not Infamous. Quite enjoyable. A touch too wordy, though. I liked it, though. It was pretty good. Next. Hey, do you like webcomics? Well, I assume you do if you're watching this. Did you know that I make a webcomic? Well, at least my regular subscribers already knew that. At the time of writing the script, Chapter 21 of my series Doomsayer has been completed and released. Check it out, 100% free if you like dark fantasy, intended for mature audiences only. It's available on my own website, the best quality you'll get, but it's also on Comic Fury and Global Comics. I'm looking to branch it out a little bit more. Also, part of the series is trying to find cool and new platforms that I may have overlooked that I could post my own comic on to spread it far and wide. I can't post it on Webtoon and Tapas due to censorship, but if you know of more platforms that would accept my work, or I can look for more comics to review on, please let me know. Anyway, check out Doomsayer and let me know what you think. I'm always eager for feedback. Anyway, on with the show. Kuina, Rise of the All-Girls Harem. Okay, so we got another one that popped up in the similar comics on Global Comics next to my own series. This is Kuina, Rise of the All-Girls Harem. I always like to throw in one Gooner comic because I am of the mind that erotic work does have artistic merit and usually have the best art and bizarrely interesting plots. This series is by Lustwoven, and the synopsis reads as follows. Quote, Kuina is a tough girl with a shitty past and an abusive father she swore to kill. Instead, she gets thrown into a crazy world with a system that makes her level up from bloody battles and from being with women. She builds a wild harem of dangerous, seductive, and broken girls, each one giving her power in their own way. Now she has to decide, will she use that power to burn the world down, or learn that maybe love really can beat hate? End quote. So after reading the 4 chapters that are available, unfortunately I have to say this one is a bit weak. It seems abandoned since the last chapter is from January and was only 4 pages. There are also only 4 short chapters, so there really isn't much to review. So we follow Kuina, as the synopsis implies, who is shown to have a traumatic past dealing with abusive and horrible men, when suddenly she gets isekai'd into some video game-ass world. She's accompanied by this succubus-like chick named Kylie, and her mission in the world is literally kill all men. The modern feminist slogan. There's also some lesbian sex scenes. The layouts are sleek and flow perfectly fine. The story isn't overly wordy, although based on some of the comments, the series may have started as some kind of web novel. I can't judge it as an adaptation, but in terms of technical execution as a comic, it's perfectly fine. The characters are consistent across panels, the images take precedent over the dialogue. Some of the art looks a little remedial, but never bad. It's fine. The main issue with this story is the plot, really. Why should I care about these people? I mean, sure, it's a bit of a lesbian feminist power fantasy, and I guess that has its audience, and hey, nothing wrong with that, if that's your thing, go for it. There's different flavors of goonerism out there for everyone. And I suppose I'm not necessarily the target audience, but where's the plot? Men are evil, kill all men, bang the women, video game ass world. That's it. Who is this Kylie character that brought Kuina into this world? Why does Kuina need to kill all men? I gotta say it like that. Why does banging the women level her up less than killing the men? I thought this was an adult comic, Who is the dude that shows up at the end and acts like he owns the place? The world may never know. Or maybe I can hunt down the original web novel. I wasn't really feeling this one, but I think with a little rewrite and a bit more polish on the artwork, we could have something cool here. But as it stands, I just wasn't really feeling this one. I might just not be the target demo here. I mean, if you're a lesbian radfem though, I guess you might dig it. Anyway, next one. Blue Moon. Alright, let's take a trip over to Webtoon for this next one. One that stood out from the front page is this Blue Moon by Kuina. Let's read the synopsis. Quote, July 19th, 11:19 p.m. On a busy road and under a full moon, Seela Linden was fated to die. When a god of death intervenes with fate, Seela slowly realizes that her life wasn't saved, but her death was simply put on hold. Now, living on stolen time, she's stuck between an eccentric and possibly cruel supernatural entity who wishes to experience life through a mortal's eye, and a lonely neighbor who wants nothing more than to experience life too, and the true love that comes along with it. Okay, so we got like a supernatural romantic drama. Sure, let's give it a shot. And now, after reading what's available, my beef with Webtoon layout still stands. I hate the infinite scroll format where the viewer's eyes just go down the entire time. It has no spice, no variety, no ingenuity, just vertically going down, down, down. I suppose it's fine for reading on a phone, but I actually hate reading comics on a phone. But that's just me. This actually is not a critique of Catalina's layout skills. Actually, I think they did a great job given the Webtoon style limitations. It's more of a critique of Webtoon as a whole. I'm going off on a tangent there. Insofar as the art is concerned of Blue Moon here, it's really good. Characters are consistent and you always know where you are in the story. The compositions of the panel never feel repetitive, and the camera, in quotes, always feels dynamic. That's the one tip I always give to anyone who wants to make comics. Well, one of two. One is to treat the panels like cuts in a scene of a movie and keep moving it to interesting angles so the visuals don't get stale and repetitive. And the other is just start the damn thing. When people ask, how do I know if I'm good enough to start? You're not. You're only going to get good at making comics by making comics. It's a hands-on learning experience. But now I'm going off on another tangent. We got to talk about Blue Moon here. So in Blue Moon, we follow a tattoo artist named Sila. I don't know, it's Sia, maybe? I don't know, however you pronounce that, who tragically loses her father in a car accident. There's also Karlas and Rakiks, gods of death, or I suppose they're like Grim Reapers. We start the story from their perspective, witnessing this Junpei Iori looking ass dude jumping to his end and stating that his death was irregularly scheduled. Then the one called Carla starts stalking Seela shortly after her father's passing. There's also this writer whose physique makes me believe that Catalina is a woman, because writers are not built like this, bro. Like, goddamn, you could grade cheese on those abs. Holy shit. Look at this motherfucker. Anyway, we get to Seela's father's funeral, and Carla's implies a bit of exposition dumping, and that's where the story ends for now. It does appear that Catalina is still actively working on this based on their posts, so this one's really just getting started. I liked it. I would like to see where it goes from here. The art is sleek, stylish, and consistent. The panel layout is, well, Webtoon layout, derogatory, but it's Webtoon's fault, not the artist. The one big issue I have with it is that according to this car, it's British. Beans on toast, yeah? Bangers and mash, eh? A pint of lager at the pub with some fish and chips, yeah, cunt? Stabby, stabby. Jokes aside, this one has some potential and I'll be keeping an eye on it in the future, so let's wrap this one up. Thank you so very much for watching this video. If you liked it, like it, hype it, subscribe to it, share it, bop it, twist it, you know the drill. Bop it. You remember those things? Anyway, if you have a webcomic you would like me to review on the channel, send it to deviantartsubmissions@gmail.com. I'll be getting back to that backlog soon. I have a couple lined up. You can also send anything else there if you want: fan art, hate mail, girlfriend applications, so on and so forth. Check out the Discord linked in the description. We have an ever-growing, nice and supportive community of artists, a lot of webcomic creators there too. Links in the description. Read Doomsayer. And once again, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.